Senator Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Administrator, what I have found is that cost-benefit analyses can be subjected to very strange interpretations on what is a benefit. So let me give you an example by illustrating from a recent EPA rule on waste incinerators. According to reports, the EPA counted as a benefit the cost to firms of hiring workers to comply with the new regulations. Now, I doubt that any small business that was subjected to this new regulation would consider it a benefit to have to hire new employees specifically to comply with the regulation. Yet EPA put it this way: environmental regulations create employment in many basic industries. So translated into English, the EPA is actually saying that the regulations create jobs by forcing companies to hire more people to comply with the regulations. Do you believe that that is what is intended by a benefit of regulation?
No, I don't, but I can tell you what my recollection is that the EPA actually said. I take your point completely. My recollection is that the EPA did not count the increased jobs that come from needing to comply with a regulation as a benefit that's part of cost-benefit analysis. So there was a part of the regulatory impact analysis which analyzes benefits and costs with great care and finds ways to reduce costs. And then there's a separate part of the document that analyzes job effects. And that's responsive not only to the President's call in the executive order to investigating job creation, but also the concern that many people have expressed about the adverse effects, the potentially adverse effects of environmental regulation on jobs. And so what the EPA was doing there was not saying the fact that you have to hire people to comply is an independent benefit that jacks up the benefit figures. It was just trying to make a projection of the total employment consequences of the rule. And for a typical environmental regulation, there can be adverse effects. If you increase costs, that's not a great thing by itself for job growth. But it can also be the case that you, by virtue of imposing costs, produce some more employment, which may not be a wonderful thing from the standpoint of competitiveness, but does suggest that when you're thinking about job growth as such, there may be an offset.
I will tell you that a small business or even a larger business that reads that regulation and looks at what EPA is doing assumes that EPA is saying that the fact that that company has to hire more people to comply with the new regulations is a benefit. I understand your more sophisticated analysis, but that's certainly what it sounds like.